Hey Screen Watcher, welcome back to another Double Take review where we give you our 2-take double dose injection of pop culture criticism because that's what the doctor ordered. Just as a heads up, the first half of the show will be spoiler free for your convenience, at which point we'll be swinging into spoiler territory where we put a big warning on the screen, just to let you know, all courtesy of our in-house spoiler monkeys. Without further ado, Ashton, what are we watching?
Ready Player One! All right, Ready Player One. The movie is based on a science fiction novel that came out back in 2011. All the cool kids, I think, read it.
Oh,
you read half of it.
I wasn't as cool as the cool kids. Thanks for pointing that out.
But basically, the story is that it's year 2045, and
sounds right.
And by that point, like the
VR has taken over the world,
and the world is like a shithole,
pretty much
at this point.
And pretty much like what was it, Columbus?
The story I think starts in where he lives, and he is they
have stacks of trailers where they have been forced to live. In general, in general, the real life, in general, or ghetto as it's referred to at some point. In general, real life has become boring and dystopian in some way, and VR is the only place where they can go to escape. And I know that there's a lot of callbacks to the 80s. That's the other thing. This movie is more like modernized. You'll find like there are modern franchises like Overwatch. You see a lot of Tracer in this movie. And a lot, like there's Ninja Turtles, like the new Ninja Turtles. There's a ton of Easter eggs in the movie, a ton of cameos, a lot of callbacks, even musical cues from previous movies like Back to the Future, which I'm sure you've been able to pull from some of the trailers.
The movie is great if you're a fan of films if you're a fan of games. You're gonna have a blast.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You're gonna have a blast. I personally am not a gamer, so I didn't get many of the references.
I was curious of that. Yeah, I am a really big gamer, obviously, Screen Watcher fans. But I thought it was cool seeing all the little Easter eggs. There's even some point where somebody grabs a gun and it's the Halo rifle. Right. And I was like, that's cool. That's a neat little nod. Gears of War pops up, and a ton of older games too.
Yeah.
But Ashton, so let's get into it. What was some of the things that you liked about the movie?
I love all the homages that was played to big filmmakers. Robert Zemeckis. There's actually an item inside the movie called
should we say it?
Yeah, I mean Zemeckis Cube.
Okay.
Like,
we're not going to say what it does.
Right, it doesn't, we're not going to go into what it does.
But I want one.
Yes. Oh, there was callbacks to Terminator.
Yes.
There are callbacks to The Shining.
Yes, there's Iron Giant in it,
right?
From the trailers. Everything under the sun. Lots to like about it. I don't really have anything that I didn't like when I was thinking about it. Is there anything that you didn't like?
No, this movie is a blast. This movie is a good time. Again, I'm not a gamer, but I love the story. I think this is Steven Spielberg getting back into his form, like in this is the classic Spielberg as opposed to the most recent Spielberg that like does okay movies.
He does more serious movies. This one was fun. It was fun but well done.
Right. I mean, this movie, let's say Brett Ratner directed this could have been
There'd be
easily
a lot
trash.
More sexual harassment.
Besides that, like the movie could have been like absolute trash.
It could have been. Oh man, it's totally set up for failure if you have it in the wrong hands. And I do think a large part of its success comes from Spielberg. A very large part. So final thoughts on Ready Player One before we jump into spoilers?
Go see it. Go see it right now. If you don't see it, then you're
missing out. Yeah, for sure. Get a big bag of popcorn and just get ready to have a good time.
Yes.
So, shall we?
Yes.
Cue the spoiler monkeys! Here we go. We're hopping into spoilers.
I think the virtual reality portion of it, when I was watching the trailers, I thought it's gonna come across as weird. But like when I was watching the movie, I was totally in it. Like I loved. I mean, the graphics were pretty good, but like it kind of resembled a modern 2018 game, right?
Oh, yeah, that's something that I wanted to talk about. There's a lot of motion capture, and a large part of the movie is a CGI fest, but I was never pulled out of it. And maybe that's because the movie is kind of centered around a video game, but they also cut back to live action. I just thought it was really well done. It never, because there's a lot of CGI fests out there where it really pulls you out of the movie and you're like, oh, that's too much. But I guess my suspension of disbelief was just ready to give into this movie because it was a lot of fun and it looked really visually fascinating.
What did you think of the villain of the movie? Ben Mendelsohn. Nolan Sorrento. He's the CEO of this evil corporation.
Well,
do you remember him from another movie?
I do.
Rogue One.
Oh,
he was a bad guy in Rogue One.
He was also the bad guy in The Dark Knight, right?
He was one of the bad guys.
Yeah. But I thought he's pretty much a classic villain. He's just twirly mustache.
Right.
I'm bad guy. But what I thought was interesting, if we're talking about the bad guys, is where were the police in the entire movie? Because at the very end they show up, but there's a lot of things that the IOI company is doing that's really shady, and at the very end, and so it made me think, oh, they must be in charge of policing the area.
That's what I thought. I was watching the movie,
but then at the end of the movie, the police show up, and it's no, we're in charge. And I was like, where were you the whole movie?
Right. I think part of it is just the entire breakdown of the society that a corporation can take over.
That's what I thought.
To a big part, because one thing that they did was they got people addicted to these games, and then they had to, in order for the people to play the game, they had to buy features, and then people would owe money to the company, and then the company would take them over because now they have a debt to this company. That's how they basically were able to get big and then have a huge control over the society.
What did you think of Halliday and his kind of role in the movie, and them searching into his backstory a little bit?
I don't know. I got a little bit of Steve Jobs.
Yes, vibe. And this fascinating life where it's almost like the characters are trying to figure out, well, what was his special sauce? What did he do to make this very important world to these characters? That's the one thing that I think they drove home really well, is that this world is super important to these characters. Right. There are scenes where the main character is crying just by hearing something revelatory about the world and how it was made.
Right.
Whereas as an audience member, you're just like, oh, that's interesting. But for this character, you can tell this is his whole life.
Right. And just for the uninitiated, I guess, the character of James Halliday is the co-creator of Oasis, the game that everyone is playing because life sucks. So
pretty much, yeah. It's a getaway, and you can do anything in this world. I guess we probably should have talked about that in non-spoilers, but yeah. And I thought that was interesting, the culmination of all the different franchises and how they were well done. There was a few times, like I said, with Tracer and Overwatch, I was like, come on, show us another franchise. Speaking of which, no Transformers.
No Transformers.
It's kind of like a movie, a callback to the 80s, and no Transformers.
Huh. I don't know.
No Transformers that I saw.
I think Spielberg was a producer on Transformers, so I don't know why. Maybe they couldn't get the rights or something.
Yeah. I did see the T-Rex from one of his previous movies.
Yeah,
obviously,
nice.
Back to the Future. Zemeckis Cube, a time-warping cube.
Right.
Oh, man. I want one.
And DeLorean is the choice of car for the main character. Yeah.
I knew that Back to the Future was going to play a part in the movie, and it has a really big role in the film. And I was noticing certain musical cues throughout the movie. You can kind of hear some of that hinted in the trailer.
Right.
But I thought it was really awesome, man.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. We came across as total fanboys for this movie, but this is a great movie.
Yeah, so. I mean, it was pretty cool. Yeah. I don't really have anything that I didn't like about it. I mean, it was fun.
No, I would buy it on DVD, Blu-ray.
For sure.
Yeah. So thank you very much for watching our review of Ready Player One. Please subscribe to our channel. We have good content coming your way. And also, while you're at it, please click that like button. It's good karma.
Yes. And we like to end the show with a very heartfelt thank you to all the dedicated spoiler monkeys out there for all their hard work and attention to their craft. But we want to thank you guys. We hope to catch you again. Keep on screen watching.